quick progress report on this prediction tweet I did March 10th, saying next week will be a very green week for crypto. Save the tweet. This is where we are from March 10th. Bitcoin up around 42% right now. And the weekly candle, I should say, 7 hours left before we're getting a close. So this is what the weekly candle looks like. I'm not patting myself on the back, everybody, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited that Bitcoin is proving itself in this macro environment from a technical analysis perspective. But just the fact that I tweeted that before I even knew that we were going to start seeing this banking crisis, and Bitcoin did it within that banking crisis. And this is not to say that it's going to keep going. And there's a lot of people talking about Bitcoin going to like $1 million in the next few months. I'm not one of those people. But this is to say that we are seeing this macro slow pivot of Bitcoin adoption. Not even just price coming out of a bear market into bull, but it's just the use case for Bitcoin. It's what everybody's always saying for years. Unbank yourself, right? Get out of the banks. The banks are failing. The US dollar is failing. Get into Bitcoin. It's kind of proving itself literally in this weekly candle. So that's exciting. But what I want to talk about really is the move that we have going on right now. Bitcoin breaking out to the upside, $28,000 right now, just breaking above $28,000. This is a critical move in terms of everything we've been tracking for Bitcoin. I want to talk about an exact resistance area. So everybody, hit that like button, hit the subscribe for me as we get started, and let's see what Bitcoin is about to do. I want to say one thing. If Bitcoin breaks this resistance area we're about to talk about in this video, I will very much be doing another video later on today if this move continues. But I would say we're kind of approaching that resistance area right now. Want to discuss what to look for. For context to everything that I'm saying right now, here's a quick clip, really, really quick, from 2 days ago. But $28 to $29,000 or so, Bitcoin's making a move. Then we're looking for a throwback. We go to the hourly chart. You can kind of see there's kind of a throwbacks. We've been tracking the consolidation, this upward consolidation, the rising channel for Bitcoin so well. It's been just epic, actually, to track this because this is a key move out of the bear market low. Now we've gotten the break out of this upper trend line of the rising channel, right? It's higher highs, higher lows, Bitcoin breaking above what we're anticipating, what we already were anticipating, besides just the break above the trend line, was this area of resistance coming into this range and pulling back. And that's kind of where I am right now. So we are at that critical level. So the price range wise, as we enter this 28, it's really the $29,000 to $30,000 level. But we said in that video, even if it's just a little bit lower, 28, this range that Bitcoin is at right now, it's like a 5% range for Bitcoin where I'm anticipating resistance. Now, that is not to say it's guaranteed. And so if it doesn't happen, and this is why I'm saying, if Bitcoin just actually this is a daily chart, but on the shorter term, just keeps going, and even today breaks above, I will be doing another update video to discuss where we are in Bitcoin, probably looking at more key factors like momentum oscillators and all that. But right now we're entering this range of resistance, and I'm so curious right now, if we even go back to the 6 hour, how this chart plays out. You get a deeper, some deeper insight, deeper visualization into what it looks like. But let's discuss real quick some macro key areas. We started the video talking about the weekly candle. Look how strong of a weekly candle this is. The weekly candle itself, right around almost a 30% weekly candle for Bitcoin. Open up the momentum oscillators, here where we are. This is kind of something else to just take very key notice of. If you look at the all-time high for Bitcoin and where the momentum oscillator was at that moment, this is all-time high right here. Check out where the momentum oscillator was before kind of cruising to the downside. It's Bitcoin slowly approaching that same range on the momentum oscillator. That is not to say Bitcoin's going to fall into like this new bear market, but it does set up, I think, on the macro, this area of, okay, cool down for a second before we get that next leg up into the overbought territory, right? So that's the weekly chart. And the other thing happening on the weekly right now, if you look at this, is this. This is the MACD line crossing above zero on that histogram. This is macro bullish, right? So we just looked at the RSI similar to the bull market high, but this is where things are different. Look at what's happening. Bitcoin's coming out of a bear market low. In October 2021, when we were just looking at that momentum oscillator of Bitcoin kind of falling, right? If we find October 2021, where are we? October 2021, Bitcoin falling. Bitcoin's up here in terms of MACD. Bitcoin's getting ready to cool down and go into the bear market, right? So that's the main difference here. From a macro perspective, we're at that pivot point from bear to bull. So it's not to say we're comparing cycles, but we're comparing the RSI oscillator as a momentum tool to basically anticipate at this point a breather, shorter term breathers, right? And that's important for Bitcoin. This weekly candle, though, looking so good, I can't help but wonder, is the failure of the banking system playing into this bullish chart for Bitcoin? In a separate video, I am going to go back in time and we're going to really dig into the similarities of what is happening with this Bitcoin weekly candle to what happened right here back in 2019. And you can see this is the very similar area Bitcoin is in right now. And you can see from that moment on these charts, Bitcoin still had another almost 100% to the upside. I'm going to do a separate video on that. So keep on the lookout for that video. But you can just see the macro looking more and more bullish for Bitcoin, because the reason why, as Bitcoin gets kind of this separation out of the bear market low, the reason why it's so important isn't so that we're getting closer to all-time high. At least this is my thought. This is how I see it. But it's because we're putting in such a large cushion, a large space here for retracement. When we get these moves, many people, they start thinking Bitcoin's just going to go up forever and never stop. And then when the big moves to the downside come into play, they get very bearish, they get very emotional, they get very filled with fear, right? We see that often. So we zoom out on the Bitcoin charts and we say, hey, this isn't the first time Bitcoin's having an awesome weekly move. It actually wasn't even that long ago. We're exiting the bear market back here, the bear market low, and we had a really big move to the downside. We always need to anticipate these things. And that's why in the short term, this is where we are. We're at that resistance area right now. And the key area that I'm watching for right now is if Bitcoin were to hit resistance up to this $30,000 region, what happens if we start falling to the $26,500 area? And that's what I'll be watching. For context, we're looking at a dip of potentially 5%. So it would be nice to see on the 6-hour chart Bitcoin get even more separation from that area, so that if it's falling from, say, 29,500, now we have a range of like 10% cushion to the downside for a pullback or throwback, we should call it. So that's what I'm watching today. Going to track Bitcoin closely and just watch closely, see what happens. But right now, Bitcoin kind of making another move to the upside on the short term. So let's continue to watch this closely, see what Bitcoin does. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.